Welcome back to the Gaming Castle. I'm Joel, and today we're going to have a little bit different kind of a video. Basically, I'm going to be talking about Kairos' video that he just released about 16 things that Moko needs. And kind of my thoughts on some of what he was saying, and, also some things that I'd like to see in the game. So, one of the big things he was talking about in that video was how right now the elite hunter level, so once you get to level 30, how that elite hunter program doesn't really feel, it doesn't feel impactful, and it's like, is it really worth grinding as an elite hunter and getting XP? Now, obviously, I've talked in some of my other videos about how really the point once you're an elite hunter is to try and get XP, level up, and get and upgrade that elite dash module, because that's what's going to be permanent progression moving forward. But I could see the argument of, well, I got my elite dash module at, like, let's say level 3 for me, I'm level 40 as an elite hunter. Well, I'm just going to go, play some other game, because, like, how much value is there really grinding out those last few levels? I'm going to spend a lot of time doing it. And so, some of what he suggests, and I think he makes some really good suggestions here, of, like, maybe they could have collector level matter. And so, for anybody who doesn't know, in Moko, your collector level is, like, how much you've collected. So how much, like, cosmetics you've collected. And it levels up. I think right now I'm level 3 or 4. And so, as you get more cosmetics, that levels up. And basically all it affects right now is, like, the way your name looks. Like, the name tag looks in the loading, or in the, like, your profile page. And so what he's saying is, like, well, maybe instead of it being that way, like, make it more significant. Like, make it give you extra gear slots. Or another thing he suggested was, like, kind of like how you can see, like, I'm looking around on the map for a corrupt spirit right now, and it's going to indicate to me when I find one that you could toggle certain monsters to hunt for projects. And maybe you could toggle more on as your elite, or as your collector level upgrades. And, maybe you get more base builds and things as your elite hunter level goes up and stuff like that. So those were some of the suggestions he had for, like, because, and then I guess let me explain why that would help with the elite hunter issue, is, basically, what that would do is, as an elite hunter, you get to upgrade, you get to unlock certain elite cosmetics that other people can't, that you could use to upgrade your, collector level. And then that would, in this, if these changes were in the game, then that would let you be able to have certain perks, to have, like, more gear slots of, like, oh, I want to have, 2 or 3 different toothpick and shield gear setups and things like that, and maybe up to, like, 10 or 12 or 15 or 20 or something like that, based on your collector level. And so some things that would, like, basically, like, quality of life improvements for players, and wouldn't necessarily affect, it wouldn't be, like, like, power progression, but it'd be, like, convenience progression for people who continue leveling up, getting more cosmetics, and increasing their collector level. So that was really one of the main things he was saying through some of his points. And I would agree with that. I think making collector level more significant could be good for just increasing interest in endgame content. And that was really, one of the focal points of the video was, what's the endgame content, how should the endgame content be, what should it look like? versus what it is right now. Because, you know, I'm upgrading these things like the Warrior's Ring and things, for example, and it's not, it doesn't really give me any, like, permanent progression because they're going to be eventually taken away. So his idea is to make, in the Elite Hunter program, all of these things in the shop to have the things that you unlock here. And, like, let's say I just grab one of these things here, like this hat. If I buy that, my collector level goes up 150 points. And so, as that would go up, you'd get certain perks for it, basically, is what he's saying. And so that's, you know, definitely, I would say, a good idea. Then another thing he was talking about, and I also like this idea, is that doing these rifts, right? So doing these rifts could unlock what he was calling legendary equipment. And so it'd basically be like the regular equipment, but with different abilities to make the equipment, like, you know, have an additional attack or like a multi-shot techno fists, or like a swift spinsicle that would, like, make it so that even if you get stunned, you're still able to spin after that. Or you know, modifications like that that would make it legendary gear, and you'd only get it through these rifts that you unlock as an elite hunter, and specifically in the hard and nightmare versions, which are basically like harder versions of the rifts that are already in the game. And so, and then maybe you could also get it, you know, for a certain percent chance from like world monsters that are like overcharged or mega charged, that they could also drop it potentially, but that there'd be a lower rate with that. And so, yeah, so legendary gear was another thing he was saying that could be good to, you know, once again, like, boost interest in the end game and kind of make elite hunter feel more significant. And so those were really, like, two of the main things he was talking about in it. And then the other point he was making that I thought was a really good one, you know, especially since I'm going for this, you know, journey to black belt. Feel free to check out those videos, definitely, after this one. But, like, where you're trying to get black belt, and he's saying, like, the rewards for being black belt just aren't good enough. Like, just getting a little bit of XP for getting black belt, it should be more. Like, more XP, maybe some, like, special cosmetics that are locked behind verses, and that verses should also be more viable, so it's less like an add-on and more like, oh, I'd rather focus verses than world farm, or I'd rather focus rifts than world farm, essentially, was what he was getting at. And you know, kind of maybe rethinking or thinking through what the rewards there should be, which I thought that was another really good suggestion, based on, you know, like, what I've played, and, you know, kind of feeling like the verses could definitely be more than what they are. And so those were, like, a lot of the main suggestions in his video, and I'd recommend checking out Kairos's video because he makes a lot of good points in there. But yeah, so those were kind of his main things. And then the other one, like, obviously, as the game ages and there's more content, more gears, more monsters, more, you know, gadgets, more weapons, that it's just going to get better with time. And I definitely agree with that. I mean, the game's young. You know, the devs have not had a ton of time to work on it. And so some of this stuff we're just going to have to be patient with. But, yeah, I really think those are all great suggestions. One thing I'd really like to get to see is some changes to some of the gear. I think, for instance, both the support weapons should have buffs. I think Staff of Good Vibes and Medicine Ball should both get a buff. I think right now they're a little bit underpowered, and that would just make the game feel more balanced. If you could have a support on your team and like have that build like not feel like you're giving up a lot. Like right now we have a Staff of Good Vibes on our team, and it's like it just decreases our damage potential so much. And like, yeah, the healing's nice, but like there's just no damage happening, and like we're probably not going to clear this partially because one of our guys is running Staff of Good Vibes. And I'd love to see that and the Medicine Ball be viable weapons. I think that's like the biggest balancing that needs to happen. Maybe some tank buffs, maybe some damage item or damage weapon nerfs, but definitely a support item buff, a support weapon buff. So, yeah, I mean that would probably be the one like big change that I would say, and maybe even adding in some kind of a clan system or something to really, because groups are okay, but like some more community aspect, have that a little bit more fleshed out, I think could be really good for the game. But yeah, so I just wanted to, share some of my thoughts about where the game is, what Kairos suggested for the game, what I think about it, where I think it could really be improved, and, I really agreed with a lot of what he was saying, so, yeah, but that's probably just going to be video. Thanks for tuning in and watching, and I'll see you guys next time.